After Daddy Lumba passed away, most people assumed the story would be simple: tributes, music, and then a grand funeral befitting a legend. But almost immediately after his death, things began to feel off. Behind the scenes, confusion was brewing, quietly at first, then loudly, because one question quickly dominated the conversation: who exactly was Daddy Lumba's wife? And the truth, there wasn't just one answer. Please subscribe if this is your first time on the channel. Your subscription would mean a great deal, so please consider subscribing to the channel. In Ghana, when a prominent man passes away, funeral arrangements are not just a matter of family, they are a matter of tradition, culture, and sometimes law. Usually, the wife plays a certain role. She oversees widowhood rights, contributes to burial decisions, and attends to family meetings. But in Daddy Lumba's case, two women stepped forward, each claiming the same thing: I am his wife. And that's where the problem started. The first woman was Akosua Serwaa. Her claim was straightforward, at least from a legal standpoint. She said she had married Daddy Lumba in Germany many years ago under civil law. This was a court-registered legal marriage, not a traditional one, not dependent on family recognition. According to her, this marriage had never been legally dissolved. She argued that, by law, she remained Daddy Lumba's only wife at the time of his death. That, she claimed, made her rightful widow. No one else had right to perform widowhood rites or claim the title of wife. But as events unfolded, she was not included in the funeral planning. Family meetings went on ahead without her. Another woman, Ofori, better known as Odo Broni, was presented publicly as Daddy Lumba's partner. At this point, Akosua Serwaa realized this was not just a family misunderstanding. It was turning into a legal dispute. The second claimant, Ofori, popularly called Odo Broni, had a different approach. She did not focus on court papers. She spoke about life, presence, and family recognition. She said she had lived with Daddy Lumba for many years. They had built a family together. They had children. They appeared together publicly. And most importantly, the family acknowledged her as his partner under customary practice. For many who knew Daddy Lumba personally, Odo Broni was the woman they recognized as his partner. So now, there was a clear clash. One woman said, I am his wife by law. Another said, I am his wife by life and tradition. Tension between civil law and customary law was about to take center stage. In Ghana, marriage is complex. A man can be married under civil law, customary law, or both. And these systems don't always cancel each other neatly. So the question became, can a man have a civil wife and a customary wife? And if so, who is recognized as the widow when he dies? This was not just a philosophical question, it had real consequences. Who controls funeral rites? Who has authority in family meetings? Who inherits property and royalties? Who is publicly acknowledged as the widow? The stakes were enormous. Feeling completely sidelined, Akosua Serwaa filed a lawsuit in Kumasi High Court. She demanded that the court recognize her as the only lawful widow, halt funeral arrangements until the matter was settled, prevent any joint widowhood. Her position was clear. Her civil marriage was legal, documented, and should override customary recognition. But the other side countered strongly. Odo Broni's supporters argued that the civil marriage had been customarily dissolved. Certain traditional steps had been taken to end it. Odo Broni had been the woman with Daddy Lumba up until his passing. So basically what Odo Broni was saying is that the civil marriage that Akosua Serwaa had with Daddy Lumba had been customarily dissolved, which means it was no more. They had dissolved it customarily. There were no clear indication on how or when it took place, but according to Odo Broni, it had been dissolved. Suddenly, the court had to weigh two legitimate but imperfect claims against each other. Akosua Serwaa claimed she had a German marriage certificate, but in court, she could not produce the original certified document. Without it, her claim could not automatically be accepted. At the same time, Odo Broni had no civil certificate either. She relied on years of cohabitation, family recognition, children, and public life with Daddylumba. The court faced a difficult situation: civil law versus customary law, papers versus lived reality. As if the legal battle wasn't complex enough, the matter also touched deep cultural tradition. Reports emerged that a great oath had been invoked. A serious spiritual act in Akan culture. This highlighted something critical. This dispute was not just about legal documents, it was about honor, family legitimacy, and the weight of tradition in Ghanaian society. And then there was the family head, Kofi Owusu-Fosu, also known as Abusuapanyin Tupac. In Akan culture, the family head is far more than symbolic. He is the custodian of tradition, the spokesperson for the family, and the person who oversees funeral arrangements, decisions involving widows and inheritance. Once Daddylumba died, Abusuapanyin Tupac automatically became a central authority figure, and according to Akosua Serwaa, that became a problem. Akosua Serwaa accused Abusuapanyin Tupac of sidelining her. She claimed he did not recognize her civil marriage. He proceeded with funeral arrangements without consulting her. He treated Odo Broni as the legitimate partner. She felt disrespected and denied. So when she went to court, her lawsuit was not just against Odo Broni, but also the family head himself. This showed how serious the dispute had become. From Abusuapanyin Tupac's point of view, his actions were guided by customary knowledge, not personal bias. He argued that he recognized the woman who had been present in Daddylumba's life in recent years. The family had been informed that earlier civil marriage was customarily dissolved through traditional rites like the return of head drinks. In his eyes, he was fulfilling his cultural duty, not breaking the law. The Kumasi High Court faced a monumental decision. Could customary authority override a civil marriage that was never legally dissolved? In the end, the court chose a balanced approach. It ruled that both Akosua Serwaa Fosu and Priscilla Ofori, also known as Odo Broni, were lawfully spouses of Daddylumba. This meant both could perform widowhood rites, both could participate in funeral arrangements, both were entitled to inheritance rights. The court made it clear, customary authority does not automatically cancel civil marriage, and Kofi Owusu-Fosu, also known as Abusuapanyin Tupac, could no longer exclude either woman. So what the court was saying is that when they said that the civil marriage had been cancelled customarily, the court is saying that it cannot be possible. A customary authority cannot cancel civil marriage. So that was basically what the court made it clear. This case became more than a family dispute. It exposed the delicate intersection of law, tradition, and family in Ghana. Multiple forms of marriage can exist simultaneously. Clear documentation is essential. In the end, this story is about more than two women fighting. It's about law versus tradition, paper versus practice, and what happens when private life meets public death. Daddylumba left behind a legendary musical legacy, but he also left a lesson that families continue to learn the hard way. Daddylumba's music lives on, but so does the story of his life, his loves, and the intricate balance between law, custom, and family. It is a reminder that clarity and respect in life can prevent chaos after death. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if this is your first time on the channel. As you can see, my subscriber count is really low, so please do well to subscribe if this is your first time on the channel. See you in the next video. Enjoy.
precontrol the assaulted right to law. Oh, Pepe, to us, and Papa, the Mariah chips the chicken out. Independence bar. For 2 days, bash for Daddylumba. The patrician and so economic. 2 days, 2 days. No man, Yako Independence bar. Independence bar. The girl already popular. Now, who got the Nina, I am the eldest. Sit down, mommy fast, let's go. Mommy fast, let's go. Mommy fast, let's go. Last Massa.
If you want to see more incredible ancestral histories of African kings and queens stories filled with drama, action, legacy, and power, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Who knows, even your king might be featured next. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe for more epic historical stories.